Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Vega Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are conquesting yourselves and conquesting things around you. Doing a little yard work, so I figured I'd take a break, catch up on a video. Let's do some shout-outs first. Let's kind of look at where we're at. Nathan Darby, thank you, my friend. James Worley. Pete Altieri, I think that's right. Thank you, my friend. John Jennings, of course, thank you. Austin, thank you, my friend. Glory to be God, thank you. Narrowpath, thank you. Jackobsen, thank you. Jon the Dawn, as usual. TKO, thank you. Stevenqurke 2010, thank you very much. IXI, thank you, my friend. Knowledge Berakah, thank you. Charles Rivers, thank you, as usual. Charles is an old-timer. Thank you, Charles. Mizo Spirit, thank you. Arnold Leeflang, 18 months. Congratulations. I know this is probably past due, so you're probably basically a lot longer than that. That's great. Keep it up. The Game of Life, thank you. Western Sellers, working the night shift. We'll talk about that. We actually have that one on there. The night is not your friend, my friend. The night is an enemy, so be careful of that. Gladiators, thank you. Dani Lexington, thank you. Dabetlog, stop shouting. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. As long as the battles keep going on, we're going to continue to battle on. So I'm sorry about that, my friend. Light in the Dark, day 53. Keep it up, my friend. Razul Edza, thank you. Eduardo Romero, thank you. Queen Lanniesslime, thank you. And Omar Shaaban, thank you. So thank you guys. So at 1 minute and 45 seconds, let's kind of talk about a topic here. This is from Michael IIII, I believe, and I may be saying it wrong, but Michael IIII, talking about energy. Let's talk about energy on retention and what that does for you. So let's kind of talk about this a little bit in terms of, let's take a step back and a little bit of the history of myself again for those who are new subscribers. I'm 63 years old. It took me a long time going back and forth dealing with this issue. I've always wanted to kind of get closer to my God, and I've also wanted to have a long, prosperous type of life. And so back in 1998, this is back when I was like 30-some years old, 35, 37, what it might be, I found a book called Kellner's Founder of Youth. And Kellner's Founder of Youth was a great book. It still is. I recommend it highly. I've had videos on it and exercise with it. We'll continue to kind of show videos if you guys want me to kind of go back over it a little bit. Exercises, but it was like 6 different exercises in that book. And one of those talked about, the first 5 is the ones I used. The 6th one is kind of, they talked about if you want to be a superhuman and really be out there and kind of, be the strongest person you can become, then do the number 6th one. Well, the number 6th one really involved not having sex and not having any kind of, not losing energy, anything like that. And I said, well, that's really kind of difficult. And back in 1998, I wasn't really going to go try that. And so as time went on, I did those exercises and they were very successful with them. I get a lot of energy. I actually had to sleep less, more energy, better working out, ready to gain more money. All those things happened in a positive way. But they were mild successes. They were moderate successes because I did use some of those things and I started transferring some energy. But because I was off and on, and I was still losing energy in many different ways, all of a sudden, I did not gain the benefits I really wanted to gain. I wasn't closer. So probably right before the pandemic, I would say I was about 59 years old. Now I'm 63, so about 4 years ago. My streak is about 4 years right now. And I decided, okay, I had nothing to lose at 59. I was going to go ahead. I was having trouble because of all the football injuries I had years ago. I said, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to just go ahead and go totally monk mode and try to do that. Now, I have not been totally successful for 4 years in monk mode, so I've kind of gone back and forth a little bit on that. But obviously, when you're doing monk mode, that's the highest level. Everything else becomes a little bit easier. So no FAP and then not releasing at all and those type of things become a lot easier. And that's kind of what I've been doing. So as a result of that, I have occurred so much different. If you go back even with the videos we started with, a couple of years ago, you can just see that I've changed a great deal. I've lost about 65 pounds and I feel unbelievable. And what happened is that you end up getting energy. Why do we do that? Well, look at the whole concept that we're talking about here. when you are releasing energy. Now, we're just talking about physical energy for a time being. There's also an emotional part of it, but let's talk about physical. When you're having a child with someone, you are giving that energy to the woman who has the child. That makes perfect sense. And you can see any kind of species that we've talked about in the past, whether it's the ants or the bees or the praying mantises or anything, the males take a huge hit. Sometimes it costs them their lives in the species by procreating because they're giving up something of themselves. And so now, and this is why babies tend to look like their dads and moms, because both the mom and the dad is giving up something of themselves. So as they talk about, procreation kind of is not a great thing for you, but it's a great thing for our world, and obviously that's what God's intended us to do. But if you're only releasing for that, that's one thing. But what ends up happening is that when you're releasing for a lot of other things, you lose a lot of your basic nutrients. Your things inside of you like lecithin for the brain and phosphorus and magnesium. All these type of things that tend to build your bones and build your muscles and be able to do that. So it makes perfect sense if you continue losing this. Like there's people out there who are releasing 5-6 times a day. Not even talking about a week or a month. And so the body is not going to be able to come back as quickly with that. I think it takes about 72, 90 days, something like that, to actually create sperm because it goes through a process. And there's a lot of videos on that you can see. And I think we did a video on it one time as well, that it takes a while to get that sperm back into your system. As you eat food and you create food, it takes a while. So if you're depleting that all the time, you're losing all those benefits. And so what kind of benefits are we talking about? Let's go back over them. We mentioned a few seconds ago. But so when you're talking about this whole idea of energy, you're now a superhuman person because most people release energy all the time, especially physically. Whether they're having intercourse with their loved ones or just random. And nowadays you have people who have such high body counts, they're losing energy all the time. And we're taught in this society it's okay to go ahead and release energy. In fact, it's healthier for you. I think that is one of the biggest lies in the world. Myself, I've seen this for the last 4 years that, it's almost the opposite, if I have to say. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I haven't had any kind of illnesses whatsoever, and I feel great after 4 years of this stuff. And it's amazing to me that I should have tried this a long time ago. But regardless, the thing is that for you guys out there, you should be trying this right now and just see how your body reacts to it. Make your own decision. Don't just listen to me. Don't listen to other people. We have lots of people who are doing videos on semen retention and a lot of good information out there. Some misinformation, good information, depends how you look at it. But the thing is, what you got to do, warriors, you just got to sit there and make a decision based on what you're seeing, how you react to this. And I can tell you how I react, and going back to what Michael's talking about here, the fact is that when I started doing this, and up to this point in time, first thing is I need less sleep. I sleep maybe 4 hours. I get up at 5:30, especially Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and I go hit the pool. Then I come back and walk my dog, and then I get ready for work. And I have a days of work, and I come back at night and spend time with my wife, and then we'll sit and then I'll go maybe a treadmill or something else at the end and try to get my steps in. So I'm trying to average about 25,000 steps, 30,000 steps a day. So that's obviously part of the reason I've lost weight, but it's also part of the reason why, building muscles through swimming and things like that. Now, the other thing is that, and you need less sleep. So the other thing then is you're talking about more energy. So to be able to do these kind of things and walking the dog 3-4 times a day and going ahead swimming, things like that, I have, my whole day is filled, which is a good thing because I don't have time to even go back to think about any kind of temptation because I'm focusing on getting things done all day long. Like this video, I'm taking a break here, but instead of fooling around, I'm making a break. I'm trying to do something, constructive here and put a video out. So the thing is that I have a lot more energy. And I'm trying to use that and transmute that. So we've talked about that. I meditate a couple times a day. I try to do breathing methods, thinking that all the energy I have is coming up through the rest of my system and whatever illnesses or any kind of issues I had, that's helping stronger. The concept of guys, again, if you think about it logically, and I don't have scientific proof for this, but think about it logically, if you're keeping all that energy, all those nutrients and things in your system instead of pushing them out, Procreation is one thing. You can actually create a baby with that. But if you're just doing it for pleasure, you have to be wasting all that energy. It just makes sense, right? And so if you keep that energy, what happens? Well, if you're using that energy to do things, that is helping you build your muscles, build things. And even at 63 years old, I'm getting more muscle now than I had when I was, 53 years old. And so the thing is that as you do this, you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So the energy is better. And then, of course, better working out. The fact that you're able to do more, I can last more longer in the pool now than I did before. I can lift more, trying to do a lot of stuff. When I was playing football, I was benching and, all kinds of mass, try to build in bulk and mass. And now I'm just doing it for tone and muscle. So I do a lot of repetition. And so I can do a bunch of repetition and weights now. And it's a lot easier since I've started doing this than it was about 10 years ago or so. That's because you're stronger. You're stronger because you're keeping your nutrients. You're becoming a superhuman type of person, because most people don't do this. And so when you're really talking about this, then you're talking about, obviously, the big one a lot of you guys want to talk about all the time is attraction. And of course, people are going to be attracted to you because they see you as being different. And you're different because you're one of the few people that can hold their energy and use it to make yourself look better. So you have this kind of energy around you, this aura look, and people can't help but look at you. And this is both males and females. From a female standpoint, it's obviously an attraction type of thing, because they don't understand how you're able to get their gaze and look at them, and it looks like they want your energy, right? Why can't I get this energy? In males' cases, they have a lot of respect for that. Now, some will react negatively, no doubt. They may get jealous, they may get upset, they may want to fight you. Some people, that's happened before. But you have to keep on remembering your purpose and move on. And so what you're going to end up having is get a lot of opportunities. So a lot of opportunities then, because of this attraction, means that in the romantic realm, you of course can get a lot of, opportunities to have relationships. My case is that's not the case any longer because I've been married for many years. It's more of a flattering thing when it happens, and it just kind of gives me a little more reinforcement that what I've been doing is correct. But if I was in my 20s and I was looking for somebody, this gives you a chance to kind of look at the women you're dating and seeing, if this is the kind of person you want to spend some real time with. And of course, as you hold your energy, you're just dating. The intimacy is just basic, holding hands, kissing, those type of things. And if you don't pursue that further, then you can figure out, obviously, if that person's right for you, because you're getting to know the person more as a person than just an object that you want to have intercourse with and release. And so the nice thing about releasing is you kind of look at women in a whole different way when you're not releasing. You're looking at them, like I said, like a mother and a sister and a daughter. And so you're looking at them as a person, and you're relating to them as a person. And that drives them crazy in many cases, because you're not looking at them as an object. And a lot of women need validation as well, as a lot of men do. So when you're looking at this, you're not giving them validation, so you become highly attractive to that person and trying to figure out who the heck you are. I mean, how are you so different than 99% of the people running around? That's why we call ourselves the 1% Club, because we are different than a lot of these other people, because you've learned how to control ourselves. And as Cicero talked about way back in the old days, the whole art of success is controlling yourself. Whether it's Socrates, Aristotle, it's all about control. And once you're able to control yourself, now you end up controlling things around you. This is why people like Muhammad and Jesus, they probably were superhumans in many ways. But with the retention stuff, there's no doubt they did that. There's no doubt that they had that kind of energy. So that's why it became important for them to focus on passing this along and passing the relationship with God along, because basically they had such a superhuman power that they actually could get people to follow them. The same thing with Gandhi. Gandhi, he had about 20 years of bad types of temptation and things like that. And after that, he obviously learned that the way to succeed is to kind of be celibate and do a lot of things that he did. And there was a lot of advantages, and he talked about this in one of his books, that once he started controlling himself, then a lot of these other things fell into place. And this is that kind of thing. So when you're retaining, you're getting a lot of those type of benefits of people respecting you, understanding you, and being attracted to you as well. And so we look at this. Now, you also get a lot more clarity. The more energy retention Now you're seeing things, and now how does it affect money? I know a few people asked about this, and I think we're doing a special one on money. But from a money standpoint, what ends up happening is if you get clarity of thinking, now you're focusing on goals. And if some of your goals are to actually make money, well, then you're going to direct all that energy to that goal. And there's a lot of indication, and I've done this before, is if you look at a goal and you put it on a board and say, okay, I'm going to make $1 million over the next year, your mind, because you're not worried about distractions with women and all kinds of other stuff, is focusing now on that goal. Anytime you focus on something a long period of time, you're going to find ways to get there. Now, not everything can be done that way, but a lot of things can be done that way. And so when you're focusing on that, now you're focusing on how do I achieve that goal by a certain date. This is why they always talk about write your dates down, write the idea of what you're trying to do, and you'll get there. So again, by clarity of your purpose, as Napoleon Hill talked about, you're going to be able to find success. And how does retention help you with that? Well, of course, you're going to get more clarity. You're going to have more energy to focus on that goal. And as you stick to your goals, and I always say this, stick to your goals. Don't get tempted. Stay with your goals. No matter what's happening around you, stay with your goals, and you'll be successful. And now you'll have dominion, as they say, around everything else. And that's why you're able to do this when it talks about these type of things. So we talk about this, ready to gain money. You're going to be able to get money because you're going to be successful in relationships with people in the business world. And you're going to have people noticing who you are. They're going to search you out saying, okay, we need a person to do this. And age really makes no difference, because a lot of times you start to look as young. And this is the whole idea about Kendler. Kendler's book is called The Fountain of Youth for a reason. You know, people go out and they think, well, okay, I'm going to go to follow trips. They used to try to travel around to see these things and say, okay, we're going to find the Fountain of Youth somewhere around the world, where that is. We're going to live over there. Well, they did find it in the book that Keller talks about, they did find it with Tibet tribes, but the actual idea was that and the exercises are fine, and the exercises work well, but what they're doing is transmitting the energy. What the Fountain of Youth really is your semen, your retention. And that's what you become, and that's why you're able to look better and better, because you're retaining. And you're able to transmute that through exercise and different things you're doing. And the way you eat and all those things, you're not losing a lot of energy, and you're not stopping necessarily, in my opinion, the aging process, but you're slowing it down. And you're slowing it down to the point where you start looking the same way. So a lot of you guys write in and say, I look like I'm 35, 45, something like that, and I'm 63. So, you can see that when I started all this about 20 some years ago, I kind of was that way. So I've kind of slowed the process down to the point where, I feel great, and I'm getting back in shape. I'm doing all the things I need to do to kind of keep on that goal. That's one of my goals that I have. So when we talk about this, we have so many goals and benefits from retention that you think to yourself, okay, why don't people just do it all the time? Well, of course, the biggest problem is temptation. And so when you fall for temptation and you release, all these other things kind of go the opposite way. You lose energy. You end up sleeping more because you're tired. Look at people who have intercourse. The male is always just think about this. The male tends to fall asleep right away. Female is wide awake, because you're transferring that energy from the male to the female. And so if you want to keep your energy, and you're doing it for reasons, you're doing it, except for procreation, of course, you're doing it, you're just kind of killing yourself. And that's why we say that when you talk about this whole idea of retention, it becomes a self-abuse, because you're trying to destroy yourself without even knowing it. You think it's pleasure, but you're really kind of destroying yourself. And that's why I talk about all the benefits of having more energy with retention. So the key line here, my friends, and thank you, Michael, for this comment, is that you will get tons of energy. You'll feel energy, because as you lose weight, as you're getting your body more into shape and it's looking better all the time, you get more muscle, and that builds, again, the fact of losing more weight, and the proteins, things you're keeping, the nutrients you're keeping, those things are going to help you build more muscle. And as time goes on, you'll become stronger and stronger, and you become almost like a superhuman. It doesn't really matter what age you are. Now, I wish I would have started this back when I was in 20s, but fortunately God has said to me, well, this is when you're starting, and hopefully give your message out at this point in time to help other people. So a lot of you guys in your 20s, 25, hopefully by the time you get to my age, you'll be very successful and maybe doing these videos and helping other people out as time goes on as well. And that's kind of the key to it all. So, all right, my friends, I hope we got something out of this one. Let me know if you have any comments or things. I'm going to try to use the next one. I'm going to talk about Alan Tanner had a good comment about using sex to control men. This is something that we see in our society. This overall trying to kind of decimate societies, not only this one, but all societies over the years, when people have tried to use this power to entice men to go ahead and lose control of themselves and then destroy themselves in the long run. So we want to kind of talk about that next time. All right, my friends, and we're going to try to do a live stream. I'm not talking about this Tuesday. Probably looking at the next Tuesday. So I think that date, I'm trying to think to myself, the 15th, 16th is next Tuesday. Probably the 23rd we're looking at. And so I'm going to look at the 23rd and see if we can do it at 6 o'clock. So 23rd at 6 o'clock, we'll get close to the date. I'll post it even in the things as well. All right, friends, enough today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys continue to listen on, give me feedback. Comments is always greatly appreciated. Obviously, donations as well. But the main thing is that you guys are listening to it, viewing it, seeing if there's things you can help you with, and hopefully become better on your journey as you go along as well. All right, 2 things as I always end these. 2 things to remember every day, and this is why you have to look at every day as a new day, because you are a great warrior. And number 2, guys, you have to continue to battle on!